Hey everybody, Nick Licameli here. Today we're talking about one of my favorite exercises, the glute ham raise. Not only is it a great exercise for your glutes and hamstrings, it's also a fantastic way to train your core and how to maintain a neutral spine. But as always, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And if you do this exercise incorrectly, at best, it's going to be ineffective, and at worst, you're going to hurt yourself. Let's take a look. So here we go into the glute ham raise. So the setup is very important, and we're going to go over a basic physics lesson to really understand the importance of the setup. You're going to lock your feet in there, and that big roll, that big circular pad, is the fulcrum of the movement. So if you move that foot pad forward, you're going to be increasing the lever arm because more of my body weight is going to be on that side of the fulcrum, the pivot point, and it's going to make the exercise harder. So moving that foot pad forward makes it harder. Moving it backward does the opposite and makes it easier. You want to also keep your feet relatively straight, but find a position that works best for you. Just make sure you're not kind of externally rotating and doing too much of like a toe out position when you're doing this. But most importantly, find what works for you because everyone's anatomy is different. Before I initiate any movement for this exercise, I lock in my glutes, hamstrings, and pelvis, and also my upper back. So my upper back, you see that I'm kind of squeezing my hands and my arms. I'm in basically the same position as a deadlift, okay? So I'm locking in my lats, getting nice and tight up there, and maintaining that neutral spine, squeezing my glutes, my hamstrings, my lats. Everything is tight, 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 and I'm not letting my back arch. I'm keeping that neutral spine and even a little bit of a posterior pelvic tilt. The glutes and hamstrings work together to facilitate that posterior pelvic tilt and resist that lower back going into extension. So one of the reasons why I love this exercise is because it trains the hamstrings through all of its functions. Knee flexion, so bending at the knee, as well as working as a team with the glutes to control the pelvis and the hip, which ultimately controls the lower back and entire core. So what about range of motion? How far should we go down? How far should we come up? Well, we're going back to physics. The top position right here is a resting position because my body is perpendicular to the floor and completely in line with the pull of gravity. Similar to the very, very top position of a barbell curl, with your forearms almost perpendicular to the floor. That position in a barbell curl is much easier to maintain than, say, with your elbows bent at 90 degrees, like in the mid portion of the exercise. The reason I take the exercise all the way up to this range of motion, even though it's technically a resting position, is because I do like the extra squeeze that I get up here on the glutes and hamstrings. Same goes for the bottom portion of the movement. If I let my body go all the way down so that my body is, again, perpendicular to that floor, that's going to be a resting position because it is directly in line with the force of gravity. So the most difficult part of the exercise is when I am straight out right here. A nice way to extend the set past failure would be to work the bottom range of motion now. So now you can see I'm kind of just hip hinging down a little bit further and coming up just past that parallel to the floor. Don't forget to squeeze everything hard when you get to that position where you're parallel to the floor. So as you stretch through this bottom range of motion and squeeze at the top when your body is in a straight line, it kind of mimics a Romanian deadlift in a way. Ways to progress this exercise would be to either move the position of your arms, so out like Superman would be the hardest and back like I have them would be the easiest, because again I'm putting more of my body weight forward past that fulcrum. You can also hold a weight, but again, you really want to make sure you keep good form. This is a tough exercise to maintain that form. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and we'll see you next time.